ever since the day that you went away. You've been sending flowers to me. Send me no flowers today. Instead of sending flowers, come back to me and love me just as I love you. Love me just as I love you. And love me just as I love you.
George, breakfast, darling, come on. Marmalade. Morning, honey.
Good morning.
Want anything special for breakfast?
No, I don't think I should eat anything this morning.
Did you say something, dear?
I just said,
What's the matter?
I got this pain in my chest. It's probably nothing serious.
That's good.
Well, at least I hope it's nothing serious. Can never tell. Who knows? It could be nature's warning.
George, nature's been warning you for years, and you're still here.
Well, my luck can't last forever.
Now come and have something to eat.
No, I don't think that I should. Not until Dr. Morrissey says it's okay.
You're calling the doctor?
I already did.
But, George, you just had a complete checkup.
Well, that was 2 weeks ago. In 2 weeks, your body can turn on you just like that.
Oh.
Come to think of it, I never got the results of that electrocardiogram. I wonder why Dr. Morrissey never called me.
He didn't call because it turned out all right.
I don't know. Dr. Morrissey's the kind of doctor who doesn't always tell you everything. In fact, if I didn't have that medical dictionary, half the time I wouldn't know what was wrong with me.
That's so true. Would you like a piece of toast?
I don't think I should have any roughage.
I promise it won't show up in the x-rays.
Honey, you're not a doctor.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just have one.
Good. Oh, George, guess what? The Bullards are getting divorced. It's in the recorder.
The Bullards, who are they?
Well, I don't really know them, but they live on the next block. I wonder what was wrong with him.
Now, how do you know? Maybe something was wrong with her.
No, I met her in the supermarket. She seemed very nice.
Nice in the supermarket. Might not be nice at home.
Well, the toast is done. I'll butter it for you.
Butter? No. That's loaded with cholesterol.
George, 2 years ago you'd never even heard of cholesterol. Now it's the biggest thing in your life.
Well, you can laugh about it if you want to. Meanwhile, men my age are dropping like flies. Do you read the Times obituary page?
Never.
Well, you should. It would do you some good. I read it every day. It's enough to scare you to death.
Well, if it scares you, then why do you read it?
What should I do? Bury my head in the sand? Meanwhile, they're dropping all around me. Like poor Henry Hoffman. 42 years old. One day he's complaining about a pain in his chest. Right here. 2 weeks later, he's gone. Went like that.
George, why is it that every time you hear someone has something, you think you've got it too?
What do you mean by that?
The year they operated on that baseball pitcher for the New York Yankees, you thought you had bone chips in your elbow.
Well, there definitely was a pain there.
I'll get it, dear.
Dressed from the clean as Miss Kimball. We just got it through special for you.
Thank you, Vito.
You know, this one is something. You know what? Next time you wear it, why don't you walk by the store and give us slaves a treat?
I might just do that.
Check.
So that Vito's a pretty fresh kid, huh?
He doesn't mean anything. He's just friendly.
Just friendly? Huh. I bet he makes out pretty well in this neighborhood.
What do you think, George? Will it be okay for the theater tonight?
Why not?
Well, do you think it's a little too dressy?
Well, I guess it is a little too dressy.
Oh, I don't think it's too dressy.
Then why did you ask me?
Well, I always like to get your opinion.
I can see that it's really valuable.
Well, I hope we don't have any trouble getting an extra ticket for Bert tonight.
Bert? Forgot all about that big cornball. Must be a mental block.
Oh, it'll be fun. Besides, we haven't seen each other since college.
Did you have to invite him for dinner tonight? I mean, you know he had tickets to the theater.
Well, he's here from California all alone, and when he called, it was the only courteous thing to do. After all, we were such good friends.
We? I hardly know the guy. But you two seem to be good old friends.
Well, kind of.
Maybe if we're not too charming, he'll go right home after dinner.
George, I have some water boiling. Would you like a cup of tea?
Tea? Well, I don't suppose a cup of weak tea would hurt me, no matter what's wrong with me.
George, your hypochondria is showing again.
Hypochondria? There hasn't been a woman with compassion since Florence Nightingale. You work and you slave, and as long as the money's coming in, everything's fine. But the moment the old machine starts breaking down, well, when I'm in the hospital lying in my bed of pain, she'll change her tune. I only hope it's not too late.
Dr. Morrissey, Dr. Morrissey, paging Dr. Ralph Morrissey. Dr. Morrissey.
I don't care how much they cost. I want special nices on George Kimball day and night. He's gonna be watched every minute.
Yes, doctor.
Ralph, how is he?
Well, it was a close call, but I think he'll live.
Oh, thank God. Thank God.
He wouldn't have had this trouble if we'd have caught it sooner. Judy, you're his wife. Didn't you know he was suffering?
Well, he kept trying to tell me, but I just thought he was a hypochondriac.
Hypochondriac? That man lying in there in traction? Why, in his condition, anyone else would have buckled long ago. He must have kept going on sheer grit.
Oh, why didn't I listen to him?
Well, you wives have got to learn to take your husband's health more seriously. As a reminder, I want you to read this every day.
What is it?
The Times obituary page.
Oh, thank you, Ralph. Now, when can I see him?
He's under heavy sedation. Maybe tomorrow.
Not until then.
Well, don't forget, he was on the table for 8 hours. 2 teams of surgeons. One did nothing but take bone chips from his elbow.
Bone chips?
The worst case I've seen since that baseball player from the New York Yankees.
Dr. Morrissey, Dr. Morrissey, paging Dr. Ralph Morrissey.
George, for heaven's sakes, didn't you hear the doorbell?
Huh?
That's Bert at the door.
Bert, I thought he was coming for dinner.
Well, I asked him to come early. I didn't expect him this early.
Well, when you're freeloading, why miss a lunch? Frankly, I was hoping he'd get lost. Buy a house in the country and people think you run a hotel.
Bert?
Yes. Judy? Oh, it's great to see you.
It's good to see you.
Oh, you look wonderful. Pretty as ever.
You look marvelous yourself. Oh, darling, here's Bert.
Yeah, how are you, Bert?
Well, for heaven's sakes, how you doing, Joe?
George.
Oh, sorry about that, George. Hey, what do you think of our girl here, huh?
I like her.
It's awful nice of you folks to invite me out. I hope I'm not too early.
No, have some breakfast.
Nothing for me, thanks. Gosh, this is a cute place. Regular little doll's house. How many acres you got here?
Oh, I'm not sure. How many acres do we have, dear?
1/3.
I guess that's plenty if you don't have any livestock.
Yeah.
Bert, I cannot get over how young you look. So fit.
Well, I'm a real nut on physical fitness. I play a lot of tennis and handball. And believe it or not, I still do quite a bit of sculling.
Sculling, is that so?
Yes, I bought myself a lake out in California. I can hop on my plane, be there in and out. Great sport, sculling. Ever try it, George?
No, it's kind of hard to pick up a lake around here.
Oh, that's too bad.
So, Bert, what are you doing these days?
Oh, I'm in oil.
Oil? Isn't that fascinating?
Oh, yes, it's just marvelous, tax-wise. Listen, the government lets the first 27.5% go right in your pocket. All these people belly aching about not having any money, they should all get into oil.
Well, that would certainly wipe out poverty.
Yes, hey, by the way, George, what business are you in?
Well, I'm with Connell Electronics Corporation.
Oh. Are you on the big board?
No, I'm not on the little board either. It's just a small company.
Well, it's small, but it's very important. They manufacture a little transistor. It's only about this big. But, as George said in a speech once, without it, a whole city like Pittsburgh would be blacked out.
Well, from what I've seen of Pittsburgh, it'd look a lot better blacked out.
Oh, Bert, I'm curious. How on earth did you locate us?
Well, I don't get east much. But just yesterday, by accident, I ran into Ted Berry at the men's bar. At the Waldorf. Well, we started talking about the old college gang, and I asked him about you, naturally. Well, Ted said you had married somebody from college, and I said who? Ted said George Kimball. I almost fell out of my chair. No offense. What it meant was, is that, you know, pretty girl like you, who would have thought that she would got married? I would have thought she would have married somebody like, Cary Grant.
No, she just married me.
Oh. Well, I think she did darn well.
And so do I.
Well, that's nice of the two of you.
What about you, Bert? Whom did you marry?
Oh, me? I've never been married.
You, Bert? I can hardly believe it. How did you escape?
Well, if you must know the truth, it's partly your fault, Judy.
Mine?
Well, yes, after you threw me over, I couldn't settle for second best.
I threw you over. You went to South America, said you'd be back in a year, and that was the end of you.
Now, wait a minute, passion girl. Didn't I write and ask you to come down to Brazil?
Well, all that did was torment me. My parents wouldn't hear of it. I was dying to go. I cried for a month.
Ouch.
Something the matter, old man?
This pain in my chest.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. Besides, the doctor's coming.
Doctor? I hope it's nothing serious.
I'm sure it isn't, but George felt he ought to call the doctor anyway.
Oh, one of those.
Well, let's just let the doctor decide that, shall we?
Oh, darling, while he's examining you, I can get my shopping done. Is there anything special you boys would like for lunch?
Doesn't matter. I can digest anything.
George?
Just get whatever he wants to digest.
Or maybe Bert would like to come along.
Oh, I'd love to. It looked like a cute little town.
It's quaint. The A&P looks like Independence Hall.
Third of an acre, eh? You know, I don't think I ever saw a third of an acre before.
I gotta. Angina pectoris, muscular spasm in the chest, often accompanied by an affection of the heart. Frequently fatal? They shouldn't be allowed to print stuff like that. Coming, Ralph. Hey, Ralph.
Hiya, George. Oh, boy. It's 11 a.m., and this is my 8th call already. I'm pooped.
Can I get you something, Ralph?
No. I just want to rest a while. I don't know why I didn't specialize so I could sleep in the morning. You never hear of an ear, nose, and throat man being yanked out of bed at 5 a.m. or with those stupid allergists. Jeez, they got hours like a banker, same type of money, too. I know one. He's got $1 million house just built on ragweed. What a business. When the pollen count goes up, it's like the stock market.
Well, I have this pain in my chest.
Boy,
Ralph.
am I poop. Thank God I'm going fishing this weekend. I got a friend. He's got a cabin cruiser. He's a gastroenterologist. He won't look at anything but gallbladders. He's cleaning up, I tell you, cleaning up.
You're going to be out on a boat for the whole weekend?
Yes, sir.
Well, isn't that wonderful? What if someone needs to get a hold of you? I mean, for an emergency, when you're out on a boat like that.
Emergencies. What emergencies? No. 90% of my patients, they got nothing wrong with them. The 5% that got something wrong, well, I send them to the specialist. The other 5%, well, you can't do anything for anyway. What's your trouble, George?
Huh? Oh, I have a pain in my chest.
Uh-huh.
Hurts like the devil when I press it.
Then why press it? Okay, all right. Is it a sharp pain, a dull pain, or does it grip you like a vice?
Yes.
No. Pick one.
Well, I guess it's a sharp pain.
Uh-huh. Was the pain so severe that it woke you up during the night?
I don't know. I never got to sleep.
Couldn't sleep, huh? Something bothering you?
Yeah, this pain in my chest.
Okay, all right. Have a seat, huh? Better take a listen.
What do you think it is?
I don't know yet.
Well, it's probably nothing serious, but you know how Judy worries.
Judy. Yeah, right. All right. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. You can button up now, George.
So what's the bad news, Ralph?
What?
Is there a medical term for it?
Yes. It's called indigestion. Okay, listen, I want you to take these pills. Take one before each meal and then one before retiring.
Stick them under my tongue?
Now, why would you want to do that?
Well, what kind of pills are they?
You wouldn't know if I told you. Just take them.
Hey, Ralph.
Yeah.
About that electrocardiogram I had taken.
What about it?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
What do you mean?
Well, how did it turn out?
Well, I don't know. I won't get the results from Dr. Peterson for another week.
He had it for 2 weeks already. Sure is studying it for quite a while.
Wow, Peterson, he's a busy man. He's the biggest cardiologist in the city. He's got a gold mine there, an absolute gold mine.
So in your considered opinion, everything's all right?
You're as sound as a bell. I wish all my patients were as healthy as you, speaking non-professionally, of course.
So with this pain in my chest, I can go right on living a normal life.
I would. Listen, why don't you take that pill right now with a glass of water?
Right now, it sounds kind of urgent.
Well, it really doesn't make much difference. Take them whenever you want.
No. If it's that important, I'll take it right now.
Dr. Peterson, please. Dr. Morrissey. Dr. Peterson, yeah, it's Morrissey. Yeah, well, thank you. Same to you. Say, the reason I'm calling is I'm on my way to see a patient of mine, William Malone. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, right. William Malone. Yeah, that old fella down there in Yonkers. Yeah. Well, listen, I don't want to rush you, but I'm going out of town for a couple of days, and I was wondering if you had the results of his cardiogram. What? Ah, what a shame. Oh, what can you do? I mean, you give them a couple of pills, you know, to ease that pain in their chest. How much time you figure the poor devil's got? Ah, a few weeks. Oh, well, I know. I've seen somebody would go just like that. I know, but well, what are you gonna do? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm going fishing. You gotta beat them out of a weekend every once in a while, right? Well, thank you, Doc. What? No, I'm not gonna tell him. I mean, I think he's better off not knowing, right? Well, you have a good weekend too. Bye. Thank you, Doctor.
I'm back, Ralph.
Good.
These pills, do you still want me to take them?
Sure, they'll ease that pain in your chest. Well, listen, George, I got to be off. I got a couple more calls.
Hey, Ralph.
Yeah?
Can I ask you a hypothetical question?
Shoot.
If you knew a patient had just a couple weeks left, that he could die just like that, would you tell him?
Well, I mean, that decision often confronts a doctor. Offhand, I'd say it all depends on the circumstance.
Circumstances?
Yeah, I mean, if I knew that his affairs were all in order, that his will had been made out properly, and his insurance was paid up, no loose ends, I'd see no reason to tell him.
What if the patient was a close friend, like me?
Your affairs all in order, your will made out, your insurance paid up?
Yes?
Then I wouldn't tell you. Anything else?
No, I guess not.
Right. Well, so long, old boy. I'll see you in church.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
George. Hey. Thanks for the hedge clipper. It's back in your garage. Well, I just put Ruth on the train to her mother's. Gee, tomorrow will be the only club dance in 10 years that the four of us haven't been together. Oh, well, we'll make it up when she gets back. Oh, listen, George. I tell you, we've changed the golf date. We tee off at 10 tomorrow, okay, kid? I think we're going to beat them this time. Boy, I was at the driving range last night, and I was belting those woods. I think I've got this game licked. Watch this, George. This is how. Woo! Yeah. Ah, yeah. Hey, what are you doing?
I'm eating.
You ought to go easy on the butter. Haven't you ever heard of cholesterol? Why, I won't let Ruth bring butter into the house anymore. I'm telling you, George, these days, you got to watch every bite you put in your mouth. Now, I don't want to worry you, George, but do you know what we're doing every time we sit at the table to eat? Why, we're poisoning ourselves. They're spraying all of the fruits and vegetables with arsenic and DDT and God knows what. Frankly, we don't eat anything anymore that grows out of the ground. What's the matter, George? You seem kind of down today.
Yes, I suppose I am.
What is it?
Arnold, can I take you into my confidence?
Well, sure, George. What?
Well, I just found out some rather bad news, but you gotta promise to keep it quiet. It's not the sort of thing I want to get around the neighborhood.
Well, it has nothing to do with property values, does it?
I wouldn't think so.
Well, that's a relief. Well, then what?
It's curtains, Arnold.
Curtains? What do you mean, curtains?
I just found out from the doctor that I may only have a few weeks to live.
Oh, come on! I can't believe it.
Well, it's true.
Holy cow! Are they sure?
I had Peterson, best cardiologist in the city.
Holy cow! Gee, George, I don't know what to say. I mean, well, if you're going to die, shouldn't you do something about it?
What?
I mean, shouldn't you at least be in bed saving your strength for it? Oh, George, I'm sorry. I'm just so shocked I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, so sudden.
It's all right, Arnold.
How old are you, George?
41.
41. I'm 61. Oh, gee, George, I'm sorry. I'm only thinking about myself when it's you that's gonna. Oh, may I have a drink, George?
Of course, Arnold. In fact, I'll have one with you.
Oh, George, how are you? How are you going to tell Judy?
Judy? I'm not going to tell her.
No. Oh.
No, I couldn't bear it. Weeping and wailing. She'd probably go to pieces. You know how Judy is.
Yeah, I remember how she was when the dog died. I don't mean there's any comparison. This would be much worse. Oh, you know what I mean, George. Oh,
That's all right, Arnold.
oh, thanks. Oh, George. Is there anything I can do, anything at all, to, not just as a lawyer, but as your best friend?
I don't know. I haven't really had time to think about it. Yes, there is something you can do.
Well, just name it.
You can handle the funeral details.
Oh, no. Oh, Lord.
Well, you understand the reason, right? It's Judy. Anybody can sell her anything, especially at a time like this. Heck, if she had her way, she'd bury me like King Tut. This is no time for extravagance. Arnold, will you do it?
Sure, George. Of course I will. George, are you fixed all right? I mean, financially?
Well, it's largely insurance. Like most of us, I'm in lousy shape. But I'll be all right after I'm gone.
Well, your house is free and clear, isn't it?
No, it was free and clear last year until I took out that other mortgage.
Oh.
Then I built that den on, we quit watching TV, and I haven't been in the dang thing since.
George, if you had asked me, I would have advised you against it. No matter what you put into a house, you can never get it out when you sell.
I know, Arnold.
The darndest thing about a house is everybody can stick you, but you can't stick anybody else.
Judy will probably have to sell. Look after her, see that she gets something out of it.
Oh, I will, George.
Poor Judy. How will she get along? She depends on me for everything. What's wrong with us, Arnold?
Who, George?
Us husbands. Why don't we teach our wives to be self-sufficient so they can be sensible, practical widows? I mean, we know we're going to go first anyway, so instead of taking them to the restaurants and theater and parties, we should send them to night school.
Oh,
Hi, we're back.
Judy. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. Oh, how are you?
I'm fine, dear.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Bert's out on the lawn getting some sun. Why don't you join him? It's so lovely out.
Maybe later.
Oh, hi, Arnold.
hi.
Did Ruth get off all right?
Yeah, like a rocket. She left this morning. Oh, Judy. Oh, Judy. How are you? How are you, Judy?
Oh, Arnold.
What?
Goodness, a man's wife leaves for a few days and already he gets frisky.
Oh, Judy, I want you to know that you can count on me for anything.
Oh, Arnold. So
What?
early in the morning?
Now, you know that I live right next door, right?
Of course you do, Arnold.
And if there's anything that you need, anything, night or day, I'm right there next door, okay?
Why don't you go home and lay down for a little bit, Arnold?
Okay. Okay, buddy. I got you. Oh,
Yeah.
goodbye, Judy. Goodbye, George. Oh, goodness. Ooh.
Well, what's he celebrating?
I don't know.
Let me put it another way. What are you celebrating?
Nothing. Nothing at all. I was just having a short one with Arnold.
Well, that's smart. You won't eat butter, but you can drink scotch. By the way, did the doctor come?
Yes, he did.
And what did he say it was?
Indigestion?
See, I told you.
Yes, you're right.
Have I ever been wrong about your little aches and pains?
No, you never have.
Then stop worrying.
Gee, I love you.
I love you too. George, you really should do your drinking at night. That girl never really cleans.
What?
$9 plus car fare, and there's a cobweb.
Honey, you're adorable.
So are you. Now I've got some things I need to get done in the kitchen. Oh, darling, I almost forgot. I stopped at the gas station and Joe gave me back this check. He said I should make out a new one because this one was the wrong amount. The bill was $45.58 and somehow I wrote the check for $78.60. See? I can't think how I did a thing like that.
Honey, this figure is not $78.60. This is 7860. You paid your license plate.
That's a hot one.
That's certainly a hot one. Judy, please. Come here. I have something to say to you.
What?
How would you like to go to night school?
Night school?
Just for a couple evenings a week. You could learn bookkeeping, banking, a little accounting.
But why?
Because these are the things that keep our little ship afloat. For example, what does amortization of a mortgage mean? Well,
Could you repeat that?
amortization of a mortgage.
Oh.
See, you don't know, do you?
No, I've never heard of it, but what's the difference? That's your department.
But I think that you should know it too.
But that's silly. What's the sense in both of us knowing the same thing? Now, I really have to take care of the cold cuts.
Judy, please.
George, I'm much too busy right now to talk about amortization.
We're not going to talk about amortization. We're going to talk about cold cuts.
Oh,
What kind of cold cuts did you buy today?
well, I bought some nice corned beef, lean, the way you like it, imported Swiss cheese, and Virginia ham.
And how much is a pound of Virginia ham?
I don't know. I didn't buy a pound.
Well, how much did you buy?
A half pound.
And how much was a half a pound?
Well, George, if I don't know how much a pound costs, how do I know how much half a pound costs?
See, that's exactly my point. How do you know they're not cheating you if you don't know how much it costs?
George, why are you getting so worked up all of a sudden over Virginia ham?
It's not just Virginia ham, Judy. It's the whole big principle.
George, I know when you start talking like this that something is wrong.
No.
You didn't lose your job.
No, I didn't lose my job.
Then stop making me nervous.
All right, Judy.
Now you take care of amortization and I'll take care of the cold cuts.
She'll never make it. She'll lose everything. What'll become of her? It's cruel for a woman to be left alone in this world. The Hindus had the right idea. When the husband went, the wife went right with him, threw herself right on the funeral pyre. Then he didn't have to worry about her anymore. Poor Judy. What'll become of her? She may even be reduced to begging on the streets.
Once I built a tower, now it's done. Brother, can you spare a dime?
Pencils? Buy a pencil, someone. Buy a pencil, sir.
Oh, all right. Say, aren't you the widow Kimball?
Yes, I am.
What are you doing selling pencils in front of Carnegie Hall?
Well, I have to eat.
You poor woman. All right, I'll buy some pencils. How much are they?
They're 6 for a quarter.
That's awfully cheap. They cost a nickel apiece at the stationery store.
I know. That's where I buy them.
You pay a nickel apiece. How can you sell them 6 for a quarter?
I'm content with a small profit.
Look, Mrs. Kimball, you're not making a profit. Every time you sell 6 pencils, you're losing a nickel.
I am?
Yes, you should be selling them for 10 cents apiece.
10 cents a piece. I see.
And to get you started, I'll take 10 pencils. Here's $1.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. And good luck, Mrs. Kimball.
God bless you, sir. Pencils? Pencils? Buy a pencil from a poor old widow?
All right. How much are they?
They're 10 cents a piece.
Okay. I'll take 3.
That'll be 30 cents.
Okay. Huh. Okay. You know what? Second thought, I think I'll take 6.
Well, if you want 6, they're 6 for a quarter.
She'll never make it. She'll never make it.
George!
Huh?
George!
In here, Arnold.
George, I've been thinking. I'm going to do it, and don't you say no.
What's
In
that?
fact, it'll be my privilege. I'd like to deliver the eulogy.
Oh, sure, Arnold.
And don't you worry, I'll give you one hell of a send-off. Yes.
I'm sure you will. I only wish I could be here to see it.
Well, say, maybe I can knock off a rough draft before you go.
Thanks a lot, Arnold.
Oh, gee, George, maybe I shouldn't bring it up at this time.
No, it's not what's bothering me.
What?
It's Judy. She'll never make it alone.
Oh, I know how you feel, George, but look at it this way. Judy is young and attractive, and she'll probably get married soon. Oh, George, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be talking this way with you standing right here.
No, I guess it's a possibility. She might get remarried. But suppose it's to the wrong man.
Oh.
Like poor Janet Hart. It was disastrous.
Who's she?
Bill and Janet Hart were good friends of ours. A very devoted couple. And like Judy, Janet depended on her husband for everything.
Oh.
Bill died quite suddenly. Janet was grief-stricken, so she leaned on the first man who came along. 1 week after the funeral, she ran off with a bongo player from Birdland.
A bongo player?
Took her for every cent.
Well, George, that doesn't mean it's going to happen to Judy.
Who knows? She's at that impressionable age. Who knows what'll happen? Alone and bereaved widow? Sad and bewildered? Judy, too, might run off with the first man who comes along.
Hello? Oh, hi, Cora. Oh, we'd love to come to dinner. I'm dying for you to meet him. Well, I wanted to introduce him to everyone, but we got married so fast. And man, I mean fast. Oh, I only went out with him one night, but he was so romantic. It was Flipsville. Oh, Cora, I've got to go. I hear him coming. And he always likes me to be ready. Bye, Cora. Vito!
Hiya, chick!
Hi, Vito.
I got big news, baby cakes. This here big shot daddy-o from Canada called me. That deal with the uranium mine is all set. It's gonna let me invest.
Oh, Vito, you're so wonderful.
Did it come through yet, dollface?
What, mi amor?
The 50 thou! The old boy's life insurance.
Yes, the check is here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Do you think it's gonna be enough?
But now, if we need more, we could, always sell the house.
Vito, you're such a good businessman. George would have adored you.
Are you all right, George? You look a little green.
You know, Arnold, Judy's got to get remarried.
Oh.
I've got to find her another husband who will protect her and take care of her after I'm gone.
Well, that's swell, George, but there's nothing you can do about it.
Yes, there is, and I've got to do it.
What?
Find Judy another husband.
Another husband?
I know just the man, and he's a real prince of a guy.
Hey, George. That's a cute little yard you've got out there. Oh, I hope I'm not interrupting.
No, no. As a matter of fact, we were just talking about you.
My dearest Judy, by the time you read this letter, I will be dead. Yes, my hypochondria has finally paid off. Ha ha. Forgive the jest, but as you see, I retained my sense of humor till the end. Now that I am gone, you will find that all my affairs are in order. There is, however, one thing I couldn't attend to, as I did not know the exact date of my passing. I wish you would take care of this immediately. I want you to destroy my Diners Club card so that it doesn't fall into the wrong hands. I would not like to feel I am being charged for meals I haven't eaten. My darling, I want to tell you how much I loved you and what happiness you gave me these past 15 years. Perhaps I didn't contribute to your happiness as much as I should have, but as you know now, I was often very ill. And now, my sweetheart, I come to a very delicate subject, one which I hope you will understand. When I found out that I was dying, I had grave anxieties about you and your future welfare. It was for this reason that I felt that you should remarry, and that Bert would make an ideal second husband. Even as you read this, I'm sure the pieces are fitting together. It was no accident that you and Bert were alone together so often. Tennis, golf, swimming, theater. It was all planned by me. A plan designed to rekindle a romantic spark without either of you knowing it. Please, darling, no tears. I'm telling you all this so you will feel no guilt about marrying Bert after what is considered a decent interval by your bridge club. And now, my dearest, I must close with sincerest wishes for your future happiness. Your loving husband, the late George Kimball.
That's beautiful. A letter like this would bring a fortune from Reader's Digest. Yes?
Good afternoon, Mr. Kimball. Mr. Akins.
Mr. Akins?
From Eternal Gardens. You phoned us about a final resting place.
Oh, that's right. Come on in.
I would have been here sooner, but I had to make a stop down on Meadow Road. The Archers, do you know them?
I don't think so.
Family of 8. Wonderful to see them. You don't get those big families anymore.
I can see your point of view. Will you have a seat?
Well, thank you. Tell me, are you familiar with Eternal Gardens? Do you have anyone residing with us now?
No, not as yet.
Well, then perhaps you saw our advertising campaign in the local papers.
I must have missed it.
I have a reprint of it right here. Ah, here she be. Really hits you in the eye, doesn't it?
It really does.
Now, as you notice, we suggest the entire family, Mom, Dad, the little ones, all come down together and pick out a final resting place. The kids love it. They have a ball.
I'll bet they do.
You also notice that all the monuments are exactly the same height, 4 feet. Gives a wonderful sense of uniformity.
Sort of a Levittown of the hereafter.
I like that. I really like that. Levittown of the
If you don't mind, can we get down to business?
Oh, yes, sir, Bob. Let me get out the old org pad here. Now, Mr. Kimball, how many in your family?
Just my wife and myself.
Oh? Well, that's okay. Chance of any little additions, maybe?
Well, there might be another man along later.
Excuse me, I beg your pardon?
Mr. Akins, let me ask you. Assuming the husband, goes first,
Uh-huh.
and then the wife later on remarries,
Okay.
and then the wife dies and is buried with the first husband,
All right.
well, when the second husband dies, is he buried with the other two? I mean, are they all put together?
Well, yes, that does happen.
Oh, well then, what the heck, make it for 3.
All righty, reservations for 3.
How much is that?
It's $1,000.
$1,000?
Oh, we throw in the first year gardening. How's that hit you?
Swell. Now, I'm going to make this out to cash if you don't mind.
Suit yourself.
You see, I'd rather my wife didn't know about this.
Oh? Oh, you want to surprise her?
Yeah, that's it.
That'll give her a real thrill. That's a very thoughtful gift.
Here you go. $1,000.
All righty. We'll put you in K3. We've got a lovely layout. Let me show you. All right. K1, K2, K3. You're lucky. That's lovely high ground. Beautiful view.
Sounds marvelous.
It's a honey.
When will it be available?
Well,
To move in?
we keep it in tip-top shape at all times. Whenever you're ready, we're ready.
That's a comforting thought.
Yo, George!
In here, Arnold.
George. Hey, how are you, George? Well, you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. Oh, excuse me, I didn't know you had company.
That's all right, Arnold.
Oh,
I'm Mr. Akins from Eternal Gardens.
oh. Oh, no. Care for a little drink, George?
No, thank you, Arnold.
Would you like a little drink?
Oh, no, thank you.
Oh, well, I think I'll have one just to be sociable, okay? Ooh, yeah.
Well, I guess that about wraps it up. I'll be going now.
Thank you, Mr. Akins.
Oh, there's just one other little thing I think I should mention.
Yes?
It's of no immediate concern, but there are plans on the books for a state highway to go right through Eternal Gardens.
State highway?
Well, not for another 10 years or so, and that's only a possibility. But in the event it does come to pass, we'll take care of everything at our expense.
What does that mean?
Well, we'll either move you to another location, or if you wish, we'll bury you deeper right under the freeway.
Oh, well. Whatever the others do, I'll go along with it.
Fine and dandy.
Mr. Akins,
Yes?
you really enjoy your work, don't you?
I wouldn't want to do anything else. I love people.
Well, that's that.
George, you didn't have to do that. I would have handled it for you.
That's all right, Arnold.
Is there anything I can do? Do you want me to mow your lawn? Yeah.
No, there's nothing you can do for me now. Say, shouldn't you take it easy? You've been hitting the bottle pretty hard the past few days.
Yeah, and I'm going to keep right on hitting it. You don't have to, George, but it's the only way I can get through this thing. George, I want you to know I'm so proud of you. The wonderful thing you're doing for Judy. So unselfish and so noble. Yes.
Thank you, Arnold.
I mean, actually fixing your wife up with another husband. Where are they, George? Where are they?
They're getting dressed. Bert's taking Judy to the dance tonight. No, Arnold. All Judy needs now in the golden afternoon of her life is a companion. Someone to walk up the hill with and down the other side.
Oh, that's a beautiful thought. I'm going to miss you, buddy.
I know, Arnold.
What is it, George?
Just thinking.
What are you thinking about?
Just thinking how many days, months, years I've wasted not really appreciating the things around me. And you know why, Arnold?
Why, George?
Because like most of us, I've taken life for granted. And that's wrong. Very wrong.
Yeah.
Being alive is such a miraculous thing. And mysterious too. Just think about it. The universe has existed for billions of years. And then suddenly, we're given the gift of consciousness. We can see, hear, feel, touch, smell. Amazing. But for just a brief moment in time, a pinpoint in eternity, and then we're gone. But the universe continues on for millions, billions, trillions of years.
It's not going to be the same without you, buddy.
You know, Arnold, the fact that I'm dying seems to have sharpened all my senses. There. I've been breathing all my life, but air has never smelled quite like that before. Never so pure, clean, and fresh. Everything feels so amazing. It's such a privilege to even touch things when you know you might not be touching them much longer. This table. It feels so good just to run my hand across it. So cool, and smooth. Well, this is all coming a little late for me, this awareness. Why couldn't I have felt like this every day of my life? But you, Arnold, you still have life left to live. Wake up, Arnold. Arnold. Feel alive. Appreciate all the beauty around you. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Feels real smooth.
Well, if I dedicated at least a little of this joie de vivre to someone else, it'll make me happy.
Oh, you have, George. Every chance I get, I'm going to feel the table. And just for that, I'm going to mow your lawn. And after I'm done mowing, by golly, I'm going to rake it. Yeah. Whew. Yeah.
George, could you help me? I can never work this catch.
Wow, you look gorgeous. When did you get the new dress?
New. This is old. I bought it for the community fun dance last year. Don't you remember?
Oh, that's right. There.
Thank you. How does it look?
Isn't it a little low cut?
Well, you loved it on me when I wore it before.
Well, that was for charity.
Isn't Bert ready yet?
He's getting dressed. He'll be out in a minute.
I really wish you were coming along tonight.
So do I. But, you know.
I just feel so guilty leaving you here alone.
Well, don't worry. I feel fine.
You do? Then why aren't you coming to the dance?
Oh, well, I mean, for me, I feel fine. It's not what you would really call feeling fine.
Oh.
But
I see.
You'll have a good time. I bet Bert's a great dancer. He does everything else so well. Great fellow, Bert, isn't he?
He's very charming.
In fact, I would say he's the perfect companion for a woman.
Yes.
And he seems quite fond of you too, Judy.
Well, I'm fond of him.
Good. I'm glad to hear it.
George, I'd like to ask you something.
Certainly.
Well, doesn't it bother you at all that Bert and I have been going out by ourselves so much?
Is it so much? I don't think it's so much. Either way, why should I mind?
Well, it's so unlike you. I mean, usually if a man showed me any special attention, you'd be terribly jealous. You've always been like that.
Me? I'm not the jealous type.
Oh, George, really? The last party at the Keller's house? You got mad because Larry was helping me put on my coat.
Helping you put on your coat, nothing. He was helping himself, the dirty old man.
You see, you were jealous.
Well, of course I was. Wouldn't you be furious if I wasn't?
Well, that was only 3 months ago. What's changed?
I've matured.
Uh-huh.
Where's Bert? You're gonna be late.
George,
Yes?
turn around. Look at me. Now, tell me why you're doing this.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, did you think I wouldn't notice? For the past 2 days, you've practically been throwing me at Bert.
Just because I haven't been feeling good enough to go out, why should I spoil your fun?
Well, usually you would spoil my fun and think nothing of it. When I think of the nights I spent here playing Scrabble with you next to that vaporizer. So, what's changed?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Oh, yes, George. You've changed. And as far as I'm concerned, there's only one explanation.
What?
You've got another woman.
What?
I'm sure of it. While you've been sending me off with Bert, where have you been?
Judy, you've got it all wrong.
What I can't understand is why. Are you tired of me, George? Is that it?
Of course not. I love you very much.
Oh, you just want a little something on the side?
Judy!
Well, isn't that how you men say it?
I don't know how we say it. I've never said it. I've never done it. There is no other woman.
Of course there is. Look at you.
What?
That guilty look on your face. I can tell. Oh, a wife can always tell. And it all fits now. Even that sneaky way you were conniving to get a couple of more evenings free.
What do you mean?
Sending me to night school? I am on to you, George Kimball.
Judy, you're making a terrible mistake. Another woman? How could you think of such a thing?
Well, what else can I think? What would any wife think? The strange way you've been acting?
Well, maybe I have, but not for the reasons you imagine.
Oh, no? Then what is it?
Well, I don't want to talk about it.
I see. Then I guess that's that.
Judy, what are you doing?
I'm leaving, George. Bert will drive me to New York. I won't spend another night under the same roof with an adulterer.
Adulterer? Judy!
Yes?
I have something to say to you.
Then say it.
Come here. Sit down. What?
Did you ever use this couch?
I never used anything. I never did anything. Please.
Well,
I didn't want to have to tell you this, but you have to know the truth. I can't have you thinking I was unfaithful to you, especially now at the ebb tide of my life. It's true I did everything to match you up with Bert, but it was for a completely unselfish, yes, even noble reason. I wanted you to have somebody.
have somebody. What do you mean?
after I'm gone.
So that's it. You're going away with her.
I'm not going away with anybody. You know when Dr. Morrissey came to see me about this pain in my chest?
Yes, your indigestion.
Well, I lied to you. I didn't want you to know the truth. I'm dying, Judy. It's the old ticker.
George, if you don't stop this.
It's true. Call Ralph. He'll tell you. I may only have a few weeks to live.
Oh. George. George.
There. Chin up. At least it's better than another woman.
Yes, I'm holding. Thank you. What time does that flight leave again? 7:45. Flight 17. Tickets in the name of Mr. and Mrs. George Kimball? Thank you so much. Oh, could you tell me, when we arrive in Rochester, is there a limousine direct to the Mayo Clinic? You think there is. Thank you. Goodbye. I got the tickets, Bert.
Good. Is there anything I can do? Would you like me to try and reach Dr. Morrissey again?
No, I am through with Dr. Ralph Morrissey. Every time I think of him, I could just boil. At a time like this, he goes fishing. Hippocratic oath and all.
Judy, it's marvelous the way you're bearing up. You got real courage, girl.
I've got to have, Bert. I just refuse to accept the idea that it's hopeless. I'll never give up.
God, what a woman you are.
Bert, no matter what I do, I'll never be able to make it up to George. All those years when he complained, and I just thought he was a hypochondriac. I feel so guilty.
Well, so do I. Here I was, taking you out, enjoying every minute of it. When all the while, that poor devil was... I feel like a ghoul.
Bert, you couldn't have known. When I think that I accused him of having an affair with another woman, when actually his motives were so unselfish, so noble. Who would believe that a man would think only of his wife at a time like this?
You got one hell of a guy there, Judy. When they made George Kimball, they threw away the mole.
I know it. Now I better go and tell him about the tickets. He should be prepared.
Hiya, boy.
Hello, Bert.
How are you feeling, darling?
Perhaps a little weaker than yesterday. I think the wheelchair is sapping my strength.
Well, we put you in it to conserve your energy. When we get there, they may have to operate.
Judy's absolutely right. And that plane trip will take a lot out of you.
Don't you think it's useless, this trip out to the Mayo Clinic?
Nothing is useless. Nothing is hopeless.
But it could be very costly, and they may not do anything but prolong this, and I'll just linger. One of the most expensivest things you can do these days is linger.
I don't care about the expense. I'll spend every penny if I have to.
Now listen here, I won't have either one of you worrying about money at a time like this. You've got enough to think about. Why don't you let me help?
Thank you, Bert, but no. I wouldn't dream of taking a penny from you.
Then let me give you an oil well. It's tremendous. The first 27.5% goes right in your pocket.
No, Judy's right. We'll manage somehow, the two of us.
I understand. And I admire that. Well, I want to go. I need to finish packing it. Can I give you a push someplace, old man?
No, I'll just park here for a while.
Well, Then I'll see you later.
Can I get you anything?
No, nothing, sweetheart. You know, you really surprised me, Judy.
I do?
I always thought of you as so feminine, so dependent. But here you are, taking everything like a Trojan, handling it all.
It's just that I've never had to before. You've always handled everything.
You don't realize how much better it makes me feel seeing how strong you are. There might be unpleasant decisions ahead. For example, the funeral details.
Now, George, there's not going to be any funeral. You're going to get better, and that's that.
Judy, you're wonderful.
Why? Because I love you so much?
You know something, darling?
What, sweetheart?
If I had known it was going to be like this, I would have told you I was dying right away.
Well, you should have. Promise me you'll never keep anything like that from me again.
I won't.
If anything were to happen, I would miss you so much.
Well, there. Don't think about that. Instead, think about all the wonderful times we had together.
They were wonderful. 15 years. It hardly seems possible.
Well, actually, it was 16, counting college. Remember Chucky's Corner? That little soda shop just off the campus?
Chucky's Corner, of course. That was the first place we met each other. Even then, I knew I was destined to take care of you. Because on our first date, you got a headache, remember? And I started massaging your head, and you were so cute. You said, I wish you could keep doing this forever and ever and ever. George? George. Oh, he's just sleeping. Shh, you'll wake him up. Shh, I'm coming. Dr. Morrissey!
Hiya, Judy. I just dropped by to see if you folks would like some fish.
No, thank you, Doctor.
Ah, come on, take 'em. I got plenty more out in the car. I've been fishing all weekend.
So I understand. Isn't it wonderful how you can just forget everything and get away like that?
Well, it doesn't happen very often. Fortunately, I had nothing urgent to keep me.
Nothing urgent? The fact that you have a patient who may be dying is nothing urgent?
Ah, come on, Judy. I always have patients who are dying, but there's not much I can do about that.
How can you be so callous, even for a doctor?
What?
Well, all I can say is that I've never been so disillusioned with anyone in my whole life. You might as well know, Doctor, I'm taking you off the case.
Off the case? Off what case? I must have been in the hot sun too long, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, Ralph, the fact that you may not have wanted to tell me is one thing, but to go off and leave George when he's dying? Oh, Ralph!
Wait a minute, Judy. Did I hear you right? Did you say George was dying?
It's no use pretending, Ralph. I know all about it. In fact, I'm taking him to the Mayo Clinic tonight. Ralph, how can you
Oh, I'm
laugh?
sorry, Judy, but I've encountered many a hypochondriac in my day, but never anybody like that boy of yours.
I don't understand. Do you mean it's not true?
He just had a complete physical checkup 2 weeks ago. I'll even show you the results if you like. George Kimball will outlive us all unless he worries himself to death.
Then there's absolutely nothing wrong with him.
Nothing. And I told him so in this very room.
Then why would he say he's dying?
I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist, although I might get into that my next time around.
But what possible reason could he have? Oh, of course. Of course.
Huh?
I'll tell you why. Because I suspected him of having an affair with another woman. And when I accused him of it, he thought he could cover it up with this ridiculous lie.
Well, Judy, I'll give you the same advice I'd give to any wife under these circumstances. Just forget about it. But to the best of my knowledge, nobody has ever taken that advice.
And I don't intend to be the first.
No, I didn't think so. Well, I'll see you later, Judy. You sure you don't want some fish? I mean, they're good for you. They're loaded with iron and protein.
No, thank you. George is going to get his iron right over the top of his head.
Well, then I guess I'll just eat the stupid things myself.
And he probably thinks he's gotten away with it, too. I can just see him now, running up to her apartment the first chance he gets, just dying to tell her how clever he's been. I bet he's planning on having a good laugh.
You should have seen her face when I told her. She practically fainted.
Oh, Georgie, you told her you were dying and she fell for it?
Like a ton of bricks.
Boy, she must be some pretty dumb dame.
I hated to do it to her, but she was wise to us. I had to make up something to cover it up.
You're so clever, George.
Well, you gotta stay on your toes when you're playing this kind of game.
Well, frankly, I say it serves her right. The nerve of some wives. They think just because they're married to a man that they own him.
Well, don't be too tough on her. Can't blame the old girl for being possessive. I'm all she's got.
What's your wife look like anyway, George?
Any married woman, they all look the same.
Well, it's all over now, though, isn't it? I mean, really?
Yes, well, I owe her something after 15 years. At least a little pity. But don't worry. I got big plans for us. I've sold enough of those little transistors. We're going to have our honeymoon on the French Riviera.
Ooh!
And once Judy's out of the picture, I got a rock for your finger that's going to make your eyes pop.
Oh, George, you remembered? Diamonds are a girl's best friend. What's your wife gonna think about that?
Let's not talk about her anymore. That subject depresses me.
Aw, my poor cupcake. Come to baby.
How about a little kiss?
How about a big one? Think your heart can handle it?
Why not? I just had a physical. I'm as healthy as a horse.
So, George, you think you've gotten away with it? Just because for 15 years I trusted you and had faith in you, you thought you were married to a pretty dumb dame. Well, the game's over. You've got a little surprise coming.
Oh, hey, Judy. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. I was just having a rather frightening dream.
You poor thing. What was it about?
I dreamt I was dying, and I don't want to talk about it.
Well, it's only natural at a time like this to have morbid thoughts. How are you feeling, darling?
Well, I feel... What's the sense in complaining about it?
That is so like you.
Well, I'm getting my strength from you, dear. You've been so courageous, so practical.
Well, George, you were the one who said I should be practical, and I've been thinking. You're right. Maybe we should discuss the funeral arrangements.
But I thought you couldn't bear to.
Well, I'm stronger now.
I'm glad to hear that.
In fact, it's such a lovely afternoon, I thought I'd do some shopping.
Shopping?
Yes. I thought I'd go downtown and pick out your casket.
My casket? Now?
Well, no sense waiting until the last minute for everything.
Aren't you being a little premature? I thought we were going to the Mayo Clinic
Now,
and...
George, what do you think about that?
About what?
Well, you said it yourself. It's so expensive.
But Judy, I thought you...
I've changed my mind. After all, you said they may do nothing but prolong your life a little, and you could just linger and linger and linger. And frankly, I think it would be better if you would just drop dead.
Judy, what's the matter?
I'm leaving you, George. And now you can run to her as fast as your little feet will carry you. I'm sure the French Riviera is beautiful this time of year.
Judy! Poor kid. The strain's been too much for her. If only I had my health. Yes? Yes? Uh-huh. I know all that, Ralph, but... Of course I'm glad I'm not dying. It's just a heck of a way to find out. No, I'm not blaming you. I know you told me nothing was wrong. But you doctors should have a way of telling a patient nothing's wrong so he really knows nothing's wrong. But from now on, Ralph, if you got any professional calls to make, don't use my phone. Yes? All right, Ralph. What? No, I don't want any fish. Oh.
Gee. Well, Kimball, I must say, you really take the cake.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Any guy who's married to a wonderful girl like Judy and starts playing around, well, frankly, I don't blame her for leaving.
Whatever.
Sorry if this annoys you.
Everything about you annoys me. And while we're at it, why don't you wear shoes like everybody else?
Look, Kimball, I understand you being testy, but don't blame me because you got caught. Those who dance must pay the piper.
You sound pretty righteous for someone who's been stepping out with another man's wife.
Now, just 1 minute, Kimball. I want you to understand that every time I was with Judy, my behavior was strictly above board.
Oh yeah, I'm on to your type. Always the perfect gentleman. I bet you never missed a chance to help her put on her coat.
Don't judge everyone by your low standards, Kimball. It just so happens I have some self-control. Despite my affection for Judy, she had no idea how I felt. Outwardly, I was an iceberg. She was never aware of the submerged 7/8. And don't forget, it was your idea to have me stick around for the weekend so I could take out your wife.
Yes, thanks for reminding me.
Bert, did you call your cab?
Yes, it'll be here any minute.
Will you make your plane on time?
Oh, yes, it doesn't leave for another hour and a half. Are you sure you won't change your mind and come with me?
I'd like that, of course, Bert, but I'll have to spend a few days in New York with my lawyer. After that, I'll fly up in a day or two.
Good, good. That'll give me time to clean up some business in Tulsa.
That's wonderful.
We'll have a grand time. You'll just love Reno, especially your first time like this.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Judy, will you listen to reason? Everything I told you is the absolute truth. I swear it.
If you don't mind, George, I don't want to hear any more of your pathetic little denials.
Judy's right, old man. It's damn monotonous.
Look, this doesn't concern you, so butt out.
Don't talk to him like that. If you were only half the gentleman Bert is.
Oh, sure. Him and his submerged 7/8. I don't know why you don't believe me. I didn't make it up. I really thought I was dying. I showed you the letter.
Oh, yes, the letter, George. When did you dash that off? Right after you made up that ridiculous lie about dying?
Judy, I really thought...
To have an affair is bad enough, but to think you could cover it up with a posthumous greeting card? When I think how you almost made a fool of me. I was taking him to the Mayo Clinic.
You're a real brick, Judy.
Look, I'll tell my wife when she's a brick.
Bert, you're a man. What did he expect to gain? Didn't he know he'd be found out? I mean, when he tells me he's dying and he doesn't die? Couldn't he see I'd get suspicious?
Judy, I told you. The doctor gave me some pills. I went into the kitchen to get water. When I came out, he was on the phone.
How did he think he'd get out of this?
After a while, he'd come up with some cock and bull story about a mistake in the x-rays or the discovery of a new drug. He's not going to die. Bingo. He's covered up a sordid little affair.
And I would have believed it, too. Of course. How simple. There was only one problem, wasn't there, George? The doctor wasn't here to back up your story about the old ticker. By accident, I saw Dr. Morrissey first.
Exactly.
Well? Oh, Bert, that's your cab.
Thank you, Judy. I sure wish you were still coming with me.
So do I.
Well, soon we'll have lots of time together.
Thank you for everything, Bert.
Goodbye, Judy. Oh! So long, Kimball. It's always nice running into one of the old class. Gee.
I'm going to finish packing.
Judy! Judy! She's really leaving me. For 15 years, I've depended on her for everything. What'll become of me? I'll sink lower and lower. I might even be reduced to begging on the streets.
Season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll an ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la.
Deck the halls with boughs of holly, fa la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly. God bless you, ma'am. Merry Christmas.
Oh, Bert, look at the poor soul. Give him some money, darling.
Certainly, sweetheart. Here you are, Grandpa.
God bless you, sir.
Bert, look! It's George!
Good evening, folks.
Good grief.
Here. I don't need your charity. Just so happens I'm doing perfectly fine.
Fine? George, how can you say you're doing fine? Here, begging in front of Carnegie Hall.
Very simple, Judy. First 27, every dollar I take, first 27.5 cents goes right in my pocket. How about a song on me? Good King Wenceslas
this is too dreadful.
down on the feast
Come,
of
Judy, you're upset.
Stephen.
Come.
When the snow lay round about, deep and crisp and even, brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel. When the poor man came in sight, gathering winter fuel. In here, Arnold.
George? Hey, you got a minute?
Yes, I guess so.
Oh. What's the matter? You not feeling well?
No, not too well.
Well, maybe you ought to rest. Do you want me to lift you onto your wheelchair?
Certainly not.
Oh, I know how you feel. You probably hate the sight of the thing by now.
Yes, I do.
Well, I've got something here that might cheer you up.
What's that?
I just finished your eulogy. You want to hear it? They needed a good sport in heaven, so they sent for George Kimball.
Arnold.
Yes, George Palmerton Kimball.
Arnold,
the best.
I don't want to hear it.
Well, we're a little testy, aren't we?
We certainly are.
Well, I guess I'll have to make a little change here. Unfailing good humor. Sorry, George.
You can forget the eulogy, Arnold.
What? Why?
You're not going to die.
You mean you're not... Well, that's the way to put it, George. That's the old fight. Oh.
You don't understand. I found out from Morrissey I'm perfectly all right. There's not a single thing wrong with me.
You mean you're not really dying?
No. But I'd be better off dead. Anyways.
George, don't talk like that. What was it, a mistake in the x-rays? Did they discover a new cure?
The whole thing was a misunderstanding. It was all my fault.
It was? But you told me.
I know, Arnold. I'm sorry I was wrong.
Well, you should be. I've been drinking for 3 days, all on account of you, and now I'm sobered up. And now I'm writing a eulogy, and you tell me I can't even use it.
I'm sorry.
I feel like an idiot, crying and drinking and writing and mowing. Oh, constant friend and confidant.
I said I'm sorry.
I mean, it's a heck of a thing to put a fellow through. Your best friend. And what about Judy? Does she know you're not dying?
Yes.
And how did she take it?
Rather poorly.
Well, I don't blame her. You committed the ultimate in hypochondria. She must be sore as hell.
Oh. That's not all she's sore about.
Oh, there's more?
She thinks I'm having an affair, and with another woman, I concocted the whole thing up just to cover it up.
Got it written right here. Faithful and devoted husband.
Give me that.
George, do you really mean she's leaving you?
She's going to Reno for a divorce.
Do you actually think she's going to go through with it?
She's packing right now, Arnold.
Well, have you tried to talk her out of it?
Of course I have, but she won't listen. You're a lawyer. You've seen these things. When a man's wife thinks he's having an affair, how can you convince her that he's not?
He can't.
But I'm not having one.
Makes no difference.
Well, I thought you were innocent until proven guilty.
Look, boy, you can forget the Constitution. You're dealing with your wife.
So there's nothing I can do.
Oh, yes, there is one thing you can do.
Well, what's that?
Confess, and then ask her to forgive you.
Forgive me for what?
For having an affair.
But I'm not having one.
That's right.
Goodness, Arnold, I've heard of guys lying out of it, but I'd be the first to lie into it.
Look, it's your only chance. Plead nolo. Throw yourself on the mercy of the court.
I can't do it. I can't confess to something I'm not guilty of. It's un-American.
Face the facts, George. You know you didn't have an affair, but your wife is sure that you did. So admit it. Why be stubborn?
You really think it would make it all right?
Well, it's not going to seem much like a honeymoon around here for a while. But in time, she won't throw it up to you so often.
I don't know, Arnold. Maybe I should just kill myself.
No! Judy loves you. She's used to you. She's a woman. What woman doesn't love to see her husband crawl a little? Believe me, subconsciously, she's going to get a big boot out of the whole thing.
You really think so?
Absolutely. Listen, a woman spends half her life trying to get something on her husband, and here you are throwing it right in her lap. She'll eat it up.
Arnold, I'll do it. I'll confess that I had an affair. I'll beg her forgiveness, and that'll be that.
Wait a minute, buddy. Not so fast. It's not quite that easy.
Look, what more does she want from me? I'm already confessing.
Plenty. They want to know who the girl is, how old she is, what does she look like, do you love her, where did you take her, did Judy's friends ever see you together?
They ask all that?
Yes. And they want to know how the other woman was in bed.
Well, how was she?
Not so good. No matter how good it was, you always got to say, not so good.
Arnold, I can't answer all those questions.
Oh, you'd have to. If you're going to hem and haw and not be sure of yourself, you know what she's going to think?
What?
That instead of having one affair, you've had dozens, and you can't keep it straight. No, sir. When she starts asking questions, you got to snap out the answers.
Good grief.
I'm just telling you some of the pitfalls. When things happen, you got to cop a plea.
Well, I'm not copping any plea. And I'm not pleading any nolo. No, sir. I'm an innocent man. And if she doesn't believe what I say, she can walk right out that door.
Okay, George. Suit yourself. But as a lawyer, I'm telling you, you don't have much of a case.
Maybe not, but I'll have the satisfaction of knowing I told the truth.
Let me tell you something, George. Truth is fine, but it'll never take the place of common sense.
Confess. 15 years of faithful husband. Maybe the only one in Westchester. Where does that get me? When I think of all the stuff I turned down at those conventions, and everything was on the house. Like that gorgeous blonde Ed Heller sent up to my room last year. I'm coming. I'm coming. I said I'm coming.
Hello, Mr. Kimball?
Yes?
I'm Miss Mason. Ed Heller of Consolidated Wire sent me up to visit with you for a while.
You work for Ed Heller?
Well, not full time. Let's just say I'm On call.
Oh, on call.
Mr. Heller says you're a customer of his, and he wanted me to be sure that you weren't lonely, if you know what I mean.
Huh. I know what you mean.
He also wanted me to be sure you weren't lonely every night this week. You must buy an awful lot of wire.
Yes, well, I do buy a lot of wire. I'm with Connell Electronics Corporation, and we make this little transistor. But without it, a whole city like Pittsburgh would be blacked out.
Oh, I have an aunt in Pittsburgh.
We'll tell her not to worry.
All right.
Maybe you want a drink?
No, I don't drink.
Well, don't meet many women like you these days. I'm not keeping you from anything, am I?
Oh, no. A lot of them are like you. They like to talk first.
Well, frankly, I'd be fine with just sitting here and talking.
Mr. Kimball, if I don't appeal to you, I can have them send up one of the other girls.
Oh, no, you appeal to me. It's just that it's not necessary. You see, I'll be home in a week.
Oh, gee. You're really a faithful husband. I don't believe I've ever met one of those before.
Well, I can see where you don't get much opportunity. Well, I don't want to detain you.
Well, I don't know what to do. I mean, I don't want Mr. Heller to think this has been my fault.
Well, I don't want to get you in any trouble. Can I sign something?
No, I guess it'll be all right. As long as you don't tell the boys that nothing happened. It would be bad for my reputation.
Oh, I won't. It would be bad for my reputation, too. Believe me, all the wire I bought from Ed Heller alone, I could have had a harem. But does Judy know that? No. They never give you credit for all the times you turned it down. But let them think you messed up just once? Well, if that's the system, I'll always figure she owes me one. Oh, Judy. Judy, I have something to say to you. And if you don't believe what I say, you can walk right out that door.
Just a minute, George. I have to call the taxi.
The taxi? Judy, wait. Don't call the taxi.
Why not?
Because I'm going to confess.
Confess?
I've been lying to you, but I've decided to tell the truth.
I see.
I want to bring it all out in the open. Confess everything and beg your forgiveness.
So I was right after all. You are having an affair.
Yes, I've been a beast. But what's done is done. I think it's better that we discuss it. Like civilized people. Don't you agree?
All right, George. Do you want to tell me all about it?
No, I think it's better if you just ask the questions and I'll snap out the answers.
Who is she, George?
Her name is Dolores.
Dolores?
Dolores, Bulova.
Where'd you meet her?
At Grand Central Station. At an oyster bar. She was eating Blue Points and asked me to pass her the horseradish.
I always wondered how those romances got started.
Well, that's how they start.
Is she young, George?
Yes.
Is she very, very young?
Well, heck, she's not jailbait.
Well, what is she, a call girl?
Absolutely not. She's a tour guide at the United Nations.
Did any of my friends ever see you together?
Oh, no. And by the way, she's lousy in bed.
Oh, well, who asked you that?
I just threw it in there, sort of a bonus.
When are you seeing her again, George?
Never.
Never?
It's finished. I've broken up with her. Never again.
After all you've told me, do you think I believe that?
Well, it's true, I swear.
Don't you know I can always tell when you're lying?
Judy, I'm telling you the absolute truth. I finished it off with her. I've learned my lesson. I repent. I've turned against her. I hate her. I loathe her.
I don't believe you've broken up with her. Not for 1 minute.
Judy, Dolores has left town. I sent her to California to start a new life.
What do you mean you sent her?
Well, she didn't want to go because she was broke. But I insisted. Yes, I did. I gave her the money and put her on the plane and...
Oh, really? How much did you give her?
Well, it was quite a lot of money. I don't remember. Actually, I do remember. I wrote the check out to $1,000 cash. There it is. And that's the end of Dolores.
$1,000? And you were nagging me about the price of Virginia ham?
Well, it was worth it to save our marriage.
Why? Why, after 15 years of a happy marriage? A marriage with love and understanding and companionship? Why did you do it, George?
I don't know. I just lost my head. But I've confessed. So now if you'll just forgive me, and that'll be that.
I'm afraid that won't work. Not now.
What do you mean, not now?
I have my bags packed. I was all set to leave you. And then I started thinking, am I doing the right thing? I mean, George denies having another woman, and I've never known him to lie to me before. Maybe I should give him the benefit of the doubt and believe him. I was calling the taxi to tell them not to come. But now that you've confessed, well, it's all over. I forgive you, but I can't live with you anymore. There's just no love left. I feel nothing for you but pity.
Well, I certainly am to be pitied. It wouldn't do any good, I suppose, if I denied the whole thing all over again.
What?
If I told you that I concocted the whole thing just so you would forgive me.
George, not now. It would only show your contempt for my intelligence. I guess that's all, unless there's something else you'd like to add.
Well, I would just like to say I've certainly messed myself up.
There is one favor you can do for me, George. Would you please close my bags?
Certainly. Close the bags? It's the first rational thing I've heard all night.
Good afternoon. Is Mr. Kimball at home?
Yes, he is, but this is not a good time.
Are you Mrs. Kimball?
Yes, I am.
Well, in that case, no need to disturb your husband. I'll just leave these with you. This is your deed. And since your husband gave us a check, made out to cash for $1,000, I thought he should have this receipt.
My husband gave you a check for $1,000?
Well, yes, he did.
For what?
Well, for your cemetery plot at Eternal Gardens. Say, you should get hubby to run you up there on Sunday. Everything's in bloom now. It's lovely now.
My husband bought a cemetery plot?
Well, yes, didn't he tell you? Oh, doggone it, I could just tear my tongue out. He wanted that to be a surprise. I hope it doesn't take all the joy out of it for you.
No, not at all. So he did make up that confession. There is no other woman.
But he made arrangements for another man.
Another man?
Very thoughtful of Mr. Kimball. He made provisions for a second husband.
Oh, I understand that now.
Oh, it's a unique idea. In fact, we're going to use it in our next advertising campaign. Oh, I hope Mr. Kimball's not going to be angry that I let all that slip out.
Well, Mr.
Akins.
Well, Mr. Akins, suppose we don't tell him. And then you can just mail these, and he never has to know I found out.
Oh, then he can still surprise you.
Yes, that's the idea.
Oh, you're a good egg. I guess I'll be going. And thank you, Mrs. Kimball.
Thank you, Mr. Akins.
Anytime, I'll just see myself out. Don't be a stranger.
There they are.
Thank you, George.
Since you're going through with this, Judy, I just want you to know that if you ever need me for anything, anytime at all, you can just call my office and they'll tell you which YMCA I'm staying at.
George, suppose I told you I've changed my mind about leaving.
Look, Judy, I've been taunted, humiliated, degraded, and reviled. All I ask now is that you just lay off.
No, George, I'm serious.
What about my affair with Dolores?
I've decided to forgive you.
You have?
Well, every man is entitled to a mistake, and since it's all over, you did give her that check for $1,000, didn't you?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Then I'm perfectly willing to forget the whole thing.
Well, now, I don't know, Judy. Maybe it wouldn't work out. I mean, how can I be sure that you wouldn't keep throwing it up at me for the rest of our lives?
Because I'm going to make a bargain with you, George.
What kind of bargain?
I promise never to mention your affair again if you promise to stop complaining about all your aches and pains.
Well, I promise. Because when a man has had a close brush with death, as I have, he really feels like living.
Well, since I'm staying, I better unpack my bags.
Well, I'll help you.
Thank you, George. Darling, you forgot the bags.
I know. I'll get them later.